Buddha said, "Each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most." Imagine this. You open your eyes one morning. It's your 70th birthday. The light outside feels softer than you remember, yet somehow brighter. The air tastes familiar, like the world has been waiting for you to notice it again. And the first thought that rises in your mind is not fear, not loss, not decline, but wonder, because you are still here. You have already lived longer than millions who never reached this age. You've walked through revolutions, through the rise and fall of nations, through inventions that once belonged only to science fiction. You've loved, you've lost, you've succeeded, you've failed. You've fallen, and somehow you've always stood back up. And now here you are, still breathing, still aware, still capable of shaping the story that remains. But this is where so many people make a quiet mistake. They believe that life after 70 is the waiting room before the end. They think their role now is to survive, not to live. They fill their days with repetition, or they drown in nostalgia, clinging to the past as if time itself were an enemy. And yet, the Buddha once said, "By grasping nothing we attain peace." What if the greatest gift of age isn't about adding, but about subtracting? What if freedom is not in holding tighter, but in learning to let go? Think of a song. The beauty of music is not in the final note. It's in the pauses, the silence between the notes that allows sound to breathe. Life after 70 is much the same. Its beauty lies not in accumulation, but in space. Not in clinging, but in releasing. You no longer have to prove, to chase, to please. You are invited to live differently now. Lightly, wisely, courageously. So let's begin with a question. What burdens are you still carrying? Old fears that whisper at night? Resentments that weigh on your chest? Possessions that fill your home but not your heart? Beliefs that once protected you but now keep you small? The Buddha taught that suffering arises from clinging, and the path to peace begins the moment we stop clutching what no longer nourishes us. So, in this journey we will explore 8 illusions, 8 silent attachments that rob us of peace and clarity. Each one is like a shadow, and when you see it clearly, it begins to dissolve. Let's start with the first, and it might be the most subtle one of all.
1. The illusion of knowing enough. What's more dangerous, ignorance or believing that you already know? At first, it sounds simple, but think about it. When someone says, "I don't know," they remain open, curious, alive. But when someone says, "I've seen it all, I've learned enough," something inside them quietly closes. Many people, after 70 years of living, fall into this trap. They confuse the length of their years with the depth of their understanding. They stop asking questions. They stop listening. They stop growing. And slowly, not because their body weakens, but because their mind stiffens, they begin to wither. The Buddha warned of this when he spoke about conceit, not arrogance toward others, but the small inner voice that whispers, "I already know enough." It's a subtle poison. It doesn't shout, it seeps. It convinces you that curiosity is for the young, that questions are behind you. But the truth is, the moment you stop learning, your spirit begins to sleep. Even the Buddha's greatest disciples, Sariputra, Ananda, Mahakashyapa, continue to ask questions until their final breaths. They bowed before younger monks, humbly listening, eager to grow. Why? Because they understood something profound. Wisdom is not a mountain you climb. It's a river that never stops flowing. Imagine a tree that refuses to grow new leaves because it already has enough branches. What happens? It begins to rot. A river that stops moving becomes stagnant, and the mind that stops seeking becomes trapped, a prisoner of its own certainty. Now think for a moment. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Was it when you encountered something new? A book that stirred your heart, a conversation that challenged your old views, a moment that made you see the world differently? In those moments you felt awake again, because to be curious is to be young, and to be open is to be free. From a Buddhist view, clinging to the idea of already knowing is still an attachment to identity. It's the self saying, "I am wise, I am complete." But the Buddha reminded us, there is no fixed self. To say "I am finished" is to deny the truth of impermanence. A mind like a body must stay supple, flexible. if it wishes to move with life instead of against it. So ask yourself, do I still read? Do I still listen, really listen, to the voices of those younger than me? Do I still challenge my own beliefs? Or have I quietly decided that I've seen it all? Because here's the truth. The moment you stop learning, you stop living. Not physically, but spiritually. And the moment you open yourself again, even just a little, life rushes back in. The Buddha called this cultivation. A field must always be tended. Weeds always grow back. The soil always needs care. A garden left alone becomes wild and barren. So does a mind left without inquiry. So let this be your quiet practice. Release the illusion of knowing enough.
2. The gift of slowing down. There comes a time in life when silence becomes more valuable than words. When a morning breeze feels like a blessing and a slow walk under the sun feels like prayer. In our younger years, we rush. We chase goals, money, approval, success. We build walls of plans and expectations, thinking that the faster we move, the more we'll achieve. But in truth, most of us spend the first half of life climbing a ladder that leans on the wrong wall. Then, somewhere after 70, something changes. The body asks for rest, the mind asks for peace, and the soul whispers, now finally live. This is not decline, this is awakening. Because slowing down doesn't mean you're stopping. It means you've learned to move with awareness. You've stopped running after life and started walking with it. Many people fear aging because they think it takes things away. Beauty, energy, attention. But what if aging is not about losing? What if it's about shedding? Like trees let go of old leaves to make room for new ones, you're releasing layers that no longer serve you. The need to impress, the pressure to prove, the weight of comparison. Every wrinkle has a story. Every scar has a lesson. Every grey hair carries a chapter of wisdom that no youth can buy. Buddhism teaches that the river of life never stops flowing. You cannot hold on to its water, but you can learn to flow with it. When you stop resisting change, life becomes lighter. You begin to see the beauty not in what stays, but in what passes through. Think about it. The sound of rain, the laughter of a child, the morning sun on your face. They don't last long, and that's exactly what makes them precious. To truly live after 70 is to savor, not rush, not regret, but simply taste the moments as they come. There's a calm kind of power in doing things slowly, drinking tea with full attention, watering a plant and watching its growth, listening to the rhythm of your own breathing. These small, simple acts are not wasted time. They are living. They are how the soul rests inside the present. In Buddhism, this mindful presence is called sati. It's awareness, being awake to what is happening right now, without judgment, without clinging. When you cultivate this awareness, even washing dishes becomes meditation. Every heartbeat becomes a reminder you are alive now. Aging invites us to return to the center of life, to the stillness we ignored while chasing everything else. It's the time when you no longer need to prove your worth. You just need to be. And yet, this simplicity isn't laziness, it's maturity. Because it takes wisdom to slow down in a world that keeps pushing you to go faster. When you sit quietly and watch the world move, you begin to notice everyone is rushing towards something they cannot keep. They run toward youth, toward status, toward possessions, as if those things could outsmart time. But time has never been an enemy. It's the silent teacher that eventually turns everything into understanding. Buddha once said, "If you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will be free." That is the heart of this stage of life. Letting go, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Not because you don't care, but because you finally understand what truly matters. So as you move through your 70s and beyond, remember this. You are not fading away. You are refining. You are not being forgotten. You are becoming free. You've spent your life gathering. Now is the time to unfold, to open your hands, release the things you can't carry anymore, and feel how light you truly are. Because freedom doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less. 4. The purpose of the later years. There's a quiet truth about growing older that few people ever understand. Life doesn't end when your body slows down. It begins when your soul wakes up. In your youth, purpose often means doing, chasing dreams, building careers, creating families. But in your later years, purpose shifts. It becomes less about what you build and more about what you become. You start realizing, maybe for the first time, that meaning isn't something you have to search for far away. It's right here, in the people you love, in the peace you give, In the silence, you learn to enjoy. At 70, you are not standing at the end of the road. You are standing at the edge of understanding. You've seen joy and loss, success and failure, and through it all, you've gathered something no young person has: perspective. And perspective is the purest form of wisdom. It's what allows you to smile at moments that once made you angry. It's what helps you forgive people you once resented. It's what teaches you that not every battle deserves to be fought. In Buddhism, there's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But after 70, something beautiful happens. You become the teacher. Not by force, not by status, but by the quiet way you live. Every time you show patience, you teach calm. Every time you listen without judgment, you teach compassion. Every time you accept change with grace, you teach freedom. Your purpose now is not to chase the world, but to anchor it, to be the stillness in a world that has forgotten how to breathe. Many people think legacy means leaving something behind, a name, a property, a memory. But your real legacy is the peace you give while you're still here. It's the kindness that outlives you in the hearts of others. It's the calm energy people feel when they sit beside you. Every conversation, every gentle word, every moment of understanding, these are the seeds of eternity. You may not see them bloom, but they grow in silence. There's a beautiful Buddhist image called the lamp of compassion. It says that one small lamp can light 1,000 others without losing its flame. And so can you. At this stage of life, you are that lamp. Your smile, your patience, your wisdom. They are sparks of light in a tired world. Every time you share what you've learned, without ego, you light another flame. So don't think your story is over. It's only becoming quieter and more meaningful. There's a calm kind of purpose that grows in solitude. You don't need an audience anymore. You don't need applause. You simply live, slowly, mindfully, gratefully. And somehow, in that quiet rhythm, you begin to touch lives in ways you never could before. Because peace is contagious. When people see someone who is truly content, not pretending, not performing, it changes something in them. It reminds them what really matters. Your purpose now isn't to be remembered. It's to be present, to breathe deeply, to listen fully, to live simply, to make every sunrise a reason to smile and every sunset a moment of gratitude. Buddha said, if you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. And the later years are your wings, light, unburdened, wise. You are no longer defined by what you do, but by how you are. And that being, that still, kind presence, is your greatest gift to the world. So if you ever find yourself wondering, what is my purpose now? The answer is simple: to live fully, to love gently, to leave quietly. Because peace doesn't shout, it simply shines. 5. The beauty of letting go. There's a quiet truth that everyone knows, but few truly understand. Everything we love, everything we are, and everything we hold on to will one day change. When you reach your 70s, you begin to see this more clearly than ever before. Friends move on, bodies weaken, memories soften, and in that slow fading, there's a lesson so deep it almost feels sacred: impermanence. Buddha called it anicca, the law that nothing in this world is permanent. Everything that is born will pass. Everything that begins will end. And yet that truth is not meant to make us sad. It's meant to set us free. We spend so much of life fighting impermanence, trying to hold on to youth, to people, to moments, as if they were meant to stay. But imagine the pain of holding your breath forever. Impossible, right? Life works the same way. It's not meant to be held. It's meant to be experienced. The art of aging gracefully is not in resisting the end. It's in learning to dance with it, to see that every ending is also a beginning in another form. When a leaf falls, it doesn't die in vain. It becomes soil for new growth. When a sunset fades, it doesn't disappear. It prepares the sky for dawn. And when a person leaves this world, their love doesn't vanish. It continues in those they've touched. You begin to see that letting go is not loss. It's transformation. You are not losing your years. You are becoming timeless. You are not disappearing. You are returning to the vast, peaceful silence that gave birth to everything. In the teachings of the Buddha, death is not an enemy. It's a teacher, the most honest one. It reminds us that we do not own anything, not even this body. And when you stop clinging to what you can't keep, your heart opens to a peace beyond fear. Think about this. All through life, we carry worries, grudges, attachments, desires. We hold them like heavy stones in our pockets. But the closer we get to the end, the more we realize, the lighter we travel, the freer we feel. To die peacefully is not a miracle. It's the natural result of living peacefully. When your mind is calm, death loses its power. Because death cannot take away what was never yours. Your peace, your love, your awareness. In Buddhist monasteries, monks often meditate in graveyards, not to invite fear, but to understand life. They sit among the silence of bones and whisper to themselves, "This too will pass. I too am part of this great rhythm." And in that realization, they smile, because there's no longer anything to lose. That is freedom, not escaping death, but seeing it as a doorway back into stillness. So, if you ever feel afraid of what's coming, remember, you've already faced countless little deaths. The death of childhood, of youth, of moments and dreams. And each one prepared you for this gentle truth. The self you think you are has died 1,000 times, and yet you, the awareness behind it all, remain. You are not the body that ages. You are not the mind that forgets. You are the silent witness, watching it all unfold. Calmly, patiently, lovingly. And when this body one day returns to the earth, you will not be gone. You will simply become part of everything. The wind, the light, the sound of morning rain. You will live again in the laughter of children, in the calm of mountains, in the space between breaths. So do not fear the end. Smile at it, as you would smile at a sunset, because endings are not darkness, they are completion. They are the universe taking a gentle bow. Let your final years be light. Let them be filled with forgiveness, gratitude, and love. Say the words you've kept inside. Hug without holding back. Thank the people who helped shape your journey. And when the time comes, leave not as someone who's losing life, but as someone returning home. Remember this, nothing real is ever lost. Only forms change, the essence remains, and that essence is you. 6. Living lightly, living fully. When you wake up in the morning now, notice how the sunlight feels different. It doesn't rush in. It doesn't demand your attention. It simply touches everything, softly, fully, lovingly. That's how life invites you to live after 70. Not in a hurry, not in fear, but in quiet appreciation of what's still here. The breath, the sky, the warmth of tea in your hands, the sound of someone calling your name. These small things, which once seemed ordinary, now reveal their beauty, because finally you have the time to see them. The greatest reward of growing older is not wisdom or respect or even peace. It's the return to simplicity, the freedom to be as you are. No more pretending, no more racing, just the calm rhythm of a heart that has seen enough to understand what truly matters. In your youth, happiness was excitement. Now happiness is contentment. You don't need the whole world anymore. Just a corner of it that feels like home, a moment of laughter, a gentle walk, a quiet evening where everything feels enough. There's a beauty in no longer needing to be someone. You've already lived many lives in one lifetime. Student, parent, worker, friend. Now you can simply be a soul in peace. The masks can fall away. The expectations can rest. The only thing left to do is to live truthfully, without noise, without pretense. Buddhism teaches the idea of beginner's mind. It means looking at the world with the curiosity of a child. Even at 70, 80, 90, to see everything as if for the first time. To walk slowly, to listen deeply, to love freely. When you live like this, age no longer defines you. You don't count the years, you feel them. You don't worry about what's ending. You celebrate what's unfolding. Maybe your steps are slower now. Maybe your hands tremble a little when you hold a cup. But those hands have built a life. Those feet have walked through storms and sunlight alike.
Every line on your skin is not a mark of loss. It's a map of survival. So instead of wishing to be young again, whisper thank you. Thank you to the body that carried you. Thank you to the mind that learned and forgot and learned again. Thank you to the heart that broke and healed and still knows how to love. Gratitude is the purest form of prayer. It doesn't ask for anything. It simply acknowledges that this moment is enough. If there's one lesson age teaches better than anything else, it's this. You don't need to fix life. You just need to embrace it. Every joy, every pain, every loss and reunion, all of it was part of your becoming. And now you are complete. The secret is not in chasing peace. It's in allowing peace. You allow it every time you forgive yourself, every time you stop expecting perfection, every time you breathe and say, this too is life. From here on, walk gently, not because you are fragile, but because the world is sacred. Smile at strangers. Be kind without reason. Cherish every heartbeat as if it's your first and last, because the truth is, it is both. And when night comes and you sit in silence, may you feel this deep knowing inside you. You have lived well. You have loved deeply. And even if the world forgets your name, your kindness will echo quietly, endlessly. Buddha once said, "The trouble is you think you have time, but now you know. Every moment is timeless when lived with awareness, so live lightly, forgive easily, give freely, and when your time comes, leave gently, with peace in your eyes and gratitude in your heart, because a peaceful ending is not the closing of life, it is the completion of a beautiful journey." 7. The timeless heart. As you sit quietly now, maybe with eyes closed, maybe just listening, feel your heartbeat. It's slower than it used to be, softer, steadier. But it's still there, faithfully marking the rhythm of a life that has been lived fully. Every beat carries memories, some bright, some heavy, but all of them real, all of them yours. And that alone makes your journey sacred. So many years you've walked, laughed, cried, worked, dreamed, and through all of it, life has whispered the same truth again and again. Nothing lasts, and that's what makes everything beautiful. Aging isn't the end of the story. It's the chapter where understanding finally catches up with experience, where you stop trying to control the tide and instead sit by the shore, smiling, watching it move. There's a peace that comes only when you stop needing life to be different. It's quiet. It's gentle. It doesn't announce itself. It just arrives like dawn after a long night. And maybe this is what the whole journey was for. Not to reach a destination, not to become someone important, but to awaken, to see at last that you were never separate from anything, that the same light in the morning sun is the same light shining quietly inside you.
Buddha once said, "As a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life." That spirit, that awareness, it never ages. It never grows old. It's the part of you that watched your first sunrise and will watch your last one, the timeless heart that simply is. So if you're 70 or beyond, walk these days with grace. You've earned the right to rest. You've earned the peace that comes from no longer needing to chase or prove. Let your days be light, filled with quiet mornings, honest smiles, and gratitude for the simplest of things. And if you're younger, listening to these words, remember, life passes quickly. Don't wait to grow old to start seeing its beauty. Don't wait for loss to appreciate what you have. Don't wait for tomorrow to say thank you for today, because one day you'll look back and you'll realize the real miracle was never the destination. It was the journey itself. So breathe deeply, love without holding back, forgive often, and when you find yourself afraid of endings, look closer. Every ending is a new beginning in disguise. That is the wisdom of the Buddha. That is the peace of the present moment. And that is the beauty of growing older, not fading, but becoming more transparent, more open, more alive. When you finally let go of the idea of forever, you begin to live now, and in that single breath of awareness, you find eternity. So may you walk gently in your remaining days. May your heart stay light, your mind stay calm, and your soul stay curious. And when the time comes to close your eyes for the last time, may it feel not like an ending, but like returning home to the silence you've always known,